Well, good morning, guys. We are so happy that you are here today. My name is Chris. I'm out of Oklahoma City. Just wonderful hearing all of you announce yourself and letting us know who you are and where you're calling from. We do this call every single morning, Monday through Friday. And right now we're going through the book Little Things Matter. And I have the pleasure today to announce our speaker. Her name is Patty Carson. She's out of Wilsey, Kansas. I've got to know this lady very, very well over the last, 14, 15 years. She's been honored as she's had so much success in our business. She was featured in Work From Home magazine, and they come out and interviewed her and her husband and did all kinds of photos of her farm, and just all because of the success she was having. She's built a business all across the United States and even globally, as she's built teams in other areas as well. And it's just been awesome to watch her succeed and help so many people. And we're just very excited to hear from her today. So with that being said, Patty, take it over.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate you being here. Did you get it recorded, Chris?
I did it before I muted it.
Okay, I just didn't hear it. Okay, I just didn't hear it. I'm sorry. I just want to make sure. So anyway, we just appreciate being here with you every week. And whenever Chris does that introduction, I'm thinking, oh, wow, that just doesn't, is that really me? But, you know, it kind of goes along with our chapter today. We're doing the book Little Things Matter by Todd Smith. And just a great book, and we do these calls every morning, the wake-up call, and this chapter really resonated with me. It's chapter 78. It's called Discover Your Unique Gift. So I hope you have a pen and paper ready, or be ready to think about what we're going to talk today, because he says, what do Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart, Michael Jordan, Warren Buffett, David Letterman, Roger Federer, Michael Jackson, Mary Kay Ash, Bill Gates, and Oprah Winfrey have in common? Each of these individuals discovered what they were good at and dedicated their lives to developing that talent. You may be an outstanding organizer, an unusually caring individual, a gifted writer, or an extraordinary musician. You each have a special talent that won't necessarily make you famous, but if you use it to the fullest potential, can help you live a more rewarding life. This lesson will help you identify your most distinguished talent, skill, or trait, your unique gift. So what is the one thing about you that is unique? I really want you to think about this today, because there are two sources where you can find answers. One is what you believe, he says. When you consider your unique gifts, try to identify the things for whatever reason you do better than anyone else. Take a few minutes right now to answer these questions. What things seem to come naturally to me? What kinds of compliments am I paid? What do I really do well? What am I passionate about? Which accomplishments make me proud? What brings me the greatest satisfaction? And next he says, what others say. Imagine that your family, friends, and coworkers got together in a room and described your greatest talents, your abilities, or your contributions. What words would they offer? Which adjectives would they use? You can do the friends and family exercise on your own by considering things people have said about you in the past, or you can actually ask them to tell you. And you can also identify the things for which you received recognition. And he says, throughout my life, I've found that positive things happen when you use your greatest gifts. You will develop a stronger sense of self-worth and find more fulfillment in what you do. Perhaps even more important is the enjoyment you gain from what you do and the ripple effect it will have on your entire life. And, I was just thinking, when Chris does this introduction, he edifies me so well, and sometimes I think, whoa, is that really me? But when you think about what you do and what kind of impact it'll make, I like documentaries. I like reading things and real true stories. And one that really impacted me, because I, listened to a trainer, and he said, what would people say about you at your funeral? What would they say? You don't have to be famous. But one story that really got me was on, Albert Nobel, the guy that did, he was the Swedish manufacturer, to dedicate his fortune to honoring and rewarding those who benefited from humanity. And he's well known. Most people know the Nobel Prize earners. People win that, so it's very distinguished to be able to have that. But how that happened was when his brother died, he was reading the obituary, and it was actually like reading his own obituary. It said the newspaper described him as a man who had made it possible to kill more people more quickly than anybody else who had ever lived, because he had created, the dynamite and explosives. And when he read that, it was devastating to him, because that isn't how he wanted to be remembered. So it always makes me think, what would somebody say in obituary? But that's how the Nobel Prize came about. And I've just always thought that was interesting and a good way to think, what would people say? How do I want to be remembered? How have I impacted people's lives? So, Chris, I'll throw it over to you for some feedback.
Well, that is very, very, very good. And, no, it is. It's hard also doing the announcing each other, I know, and it's challenging. But, we have to honor each other, so I'm glad I get to do it. But about unique giftings, and that's what we honor when we announce each other. God, I believe, gives us all unique talents and giftings, and they have a purpose. And our purpose is to serve others and make an impact. And just like the story you just shared of the person that started the Nobel Prize, it's about honoring, is what his creation was there, if you will. So I think that's kind of unique as well. But yeah, we have to use our talents. I was reading a quote by Jim Rohn, and it says, a talent unused is lost, and ability unused is lost. Make sure that your talent and ability are used. And, every day that goes by that we're not acting and working in our giftings is a day lost. I talk all the time kind of about time and the importance of time, and time's one of those things that we don't get it back. Every single day is something that we have a choice to work in our giftings and talents and to make an impact in life. But once the day is over and we've done that or not done that, we don't get a redo on that day. Now we get to start over tomorrow and make new choices tomorrow. But we should just invest our talents to serve and to help others. And I think that's the key to it. Zig Ziglar says, if you help enough other people get what they want, you'll have everything that you want. And I think that's also talking about working in your giftings and finding out what you're passionate about and finding your niche. So, Patty, if you'll go ahead and close up the book, I'll turn it back over to you.
Well, that's great. And it's like I think about, like when I listen to Chris, one thing I always think, he lifts me up every time I call him, because I always say, when I call somebody, I always say, how are you? Because I genuinely want to know. But one thing Chris says, I choose to be fantastic. And I know we've talked about this before, but it makes an impact, because when he says that, it lights me up, every time I hear that. And it is about choices and what we do every day. I was thinking a little bit along this line, too, because my husband retired in September. And it's like he's trying to figure out what he's going to do with the rest of his life, over 40 years railroading. Now it's like, okay, now what are we going to do? But I'm like, on the other hand, is like, I'm not retiring, because I think we already use our talents. And I think I kid with him all the time. My grandma lived to be 106 years old. And her attitude was every single morning she woke up she was looking forward to the day and what it was going to bring. And she would thank God that she woke up in the morning and she was excited about the day no matter what it was. And at night when she went to bed, she thanked God that she had that day to live. She was always excited. And I thought that's how, I also want to be remembered, that every day is a choice. that we get up and make the best of that day and use our, just use our talents. However, doesn't matter how old we are, we can be able to do that. So anyway, the challenge today, he said, each one of us has a unique gift that can bring happiness and satisfaction into our lives. Take some quiet time to make a list of your unique gifts. After you make this list, narrow it down to your top 10, then your top 5, and then to your single most distinguishing quality. Once you have identified, once you have it identified, it is time to start thinking about how you can use it to its full potential. Don't be discouraged if it takes you a while to figure out how best to use your unique gift. He says it took me more than a year before I became completely clear on how I would use mine. But it wasn't a year wasted. I learned something every step of the way. And he says, if you take the time to discover your unique gift, you'll unlock the door to a future of limitless possibilities. So, Chris, with that, I'm going to let you unmute the lines and open the call up so we can tell everybody goodbye.
Well, who wouldn't want to unlock the door to unlimitless possibilities? That is fantastic. All right, so here we go. Unmuting the lines. All right, Patty, for some reason